So it is mid-innings time between India and Bangladesh in Dubai, and in the first of the Super 4 encounters, Bangladesh, you would think, are slightly below par. 173 all out after Rohit Sharma put Mashrafi Mortaza's side in. And but for a partnership between Mortaza and Mehdi Hasan, that score could have been even lower. At one stage, they were rocked at 5 for 65, courtesy Ravindra Jadeja with 4 for 29 on his comeback to the Indian team. All the wickets shared between Jadeja, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Jasprit Bumrah, which makes for a half-time show that India would be slightly happier about. This is ESPNcricinfo Matchday with our technology partner Vivo. Deep Dasgupta in studio with me. Shahriar Nafees' thoughts from Bangladesh in just a bit. Below par, you think?
Oh yeah, definitely yes. But a good comeback. I mean, as you mentioned, it was actually 101 for 7. From there to come to 173, I think was kind of a comeback.
All right, Shahriar, let me go to you. You said at least 220, 230. Again, the top order of Bangladesh, no one really willing to bat through. Problem, isn't it?
Yes, like when you are playing a team like India, Asia Cup, the condition you are playing, you should have, if you can't score more than 220, 230, it's a difficult match for Bangladesh. But still in its game of cricket, if you can bowl and feel well, there's a slight possibility, but I think it was a disappointing show by the Bangladeshi batsman. One thing I want to mention is, like, I was listening to the commentary of VVS Lakshman, and there was, before the wicket of Saqib, Dhoni moved the field and then they got the wicket of Saqib. So he was saying one thing: experience, experience and experience. So I think that is the thing we were left in Bangladesh innings. Not much batsmen put their hand up. The young guys couldn't fire today. But Bangladesh seems to be a bit lucky now, because we had a very good partnership between Mehdi and Mashrafi. That is the partnership which has brought us some, like, slightly into the game. They batted really well.
Let's go back to the conversation we had just towards the end of the pre-show. Pakistan's approach in the game against India, they felt like they were going to get too many.
Yeah.
We were hoping Bangladesh wouldn't be like that. If you look at some of the top order wickets, what would you assess? Would you be a hard man talking to the Bangladesh top order right now?
Yes, to a certain extent, I would, because there's a reason why Shakib is at number 3, is to play responsibly.
Yes.
And afraid, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that in this series, because he's been batting at 3. Because the idea, it's not a 20-over game, it's a 50-over game. You need to bat deep. And when you look at that batting order, you say, you know, middle order isn't the strong point there. You have some youngsters coming in. So, you know, the reason why Shakib was promoted to 3, and Shahriar also mentioned it, from number 5, is to give stability and not lose early wickets. So if you're going to bat like that and lose early wickets, then there's no point Shakib batting at 3. Might as well bat at 5.
When you say experience, would Bangladesh have done with some more experience, perhaps of Mominul Haq, like you would have wanted, Shahriar, or is that slim pickings, because even the experienced batsmen were guilty of some bad shots?
No, when you pick a team for a tournament, you will not have much more options. Let's keep that aside. What I think what we lacked in the batting was the intensity. If you look at Mehdi and Mashrafi's batting partnership, their intensity was good. They were like defending the ball, taking singles, putting the bad ball away. We lacked it in the middle overs and even in the top overs. And one more thing I want to mention is, looking at this tournament, looking all the matches, what I feel this tournament has been a tournament of, like, old school one-day cricket, where you come, stay there, make a partnership, and the last 10 overs you utilize it and you score a decent score of 230 to 40. The team which has gone hard or tried too much in this tournament has missed the trick. I think that was the problem we had in the Bangladeshi batting order today.
Okay, I'm just getting news that the BCP has actually added Soumya Sarkar and Imrul Kayes to the Asia Cup squad. They will be in the UAE around this time tomorrow. So that's news coming in from the BCB ranks. Well, I don't know if it's injury or whatnot, but they seem to want batting reinforcement.
Yeah, I think the last couple of games have kind of emphasized the lack of experience, call it, or application, call it. But yeah, Soumya Sarkar and Imrul Kayes, 2 experienced players there, and bat top of the order, and especially after the injury to Tamim, I think that's what they're looking at, some experience top of the order. And this might just lead to what we were discussing. Maybe, both of them play. One plays at, at number 1, the other at number 3, and Shakib goes back to 5. I don't know, maybe that's a thought process again, because they've called 2 experienced players there, Imrul and Soumya.
Yeah, I mean, he's played a lot. Imrul Kayes has played, what, 70 ODIs, about 30 or so for Soumya Sarkar, who's still part of the T20 setup. Shahriar, just keep your phone on loud. I think there's a call-up coming your way as well, if this, with the way things are going. But just thoughts on Sarkar and Imrul Kayes' call-up?
I feel happy for these 2 guys. They have got the opportunity to represent their country again. So very happy for these 2 guys. But on the other hand, if you think it should have been done earlier, like they have been the part of the team for a while. One point I want to make is, yes, we were looking for an opener for a long time who can complement Tamim. One thing we never thought of, if something happens to Tamim, what we are going to do. In this setup, like injuries can happen, you can have some problems or sudden like problems which like Hardik Pandya had. I think it's good for the team because we've got some reinforcements coming up, but it's it's not clearly done, I think.
Let's spend a moment on the experience that they do have, that they bank on in the absence of Tamim, which is Shakib and Mushfiqur, and all that we saw multiple replays of a man being put for the sweep shot almost for Shakib and perishing the next ball. Mushfiqur Rahim in that situation playing a reverse sweep to get out. That just looks horribly wrong when you look at the situation.
Right. I mean, when you just look at it individually, yes, and out of context, but especially I said Mushfiqur, that was a bad shot. That was not expected of him. He plays the reverse sweep from time to time, but that's not something that you can call that is his shot. But for Shakib, I can understand a little bit because that was, the power play overs. All he had to do was clear the 30-yard circle fielder, and he plays the sweep really well. So I can understand why he was looking to play that shot. Yeah, but execution didn't go well. But the point here is a little different, as Shahriar mentioned, and we've seen throughout this tournament, you're looking at 230, 240, you're not looking at 280, you're not looking at 300. And when you've been sent at number 3, someone as experienced as Shakib, you got to understand the reason behind it. What is your role? Your role is to play deep and then have wickets in hand and see where you go. So from that perspective, yes, I mean, when you see those wickets, you tend to cringe, and especially Mushfiqur.
Okay, fact remains that they were dismissed by a man returning to the ODI side that had a point himself to prove in Ravindra Jadeja, and the wickets of Shakib and Mushfiqur makes for an impressive enough comeback that he added 2 more and went at under 3 and over, makes it an exceptional comeback for Ravindra Jadeja. What do we do with him now, Deep Dasgupta?
Nothing. I mean, he's part of the setup and he will be. It's interesting now because, listen, for the last year and a half, you're looking at a combination of 2 spinners and 2 fast bowlers and Hardik Pandya. Now, certainly there's another option, 2 fast bowlers and, 3 spinners. So, obviously, it's good to have options. You also have someone like Akshar Patel, who's had whatever little chances he's got, he's done well as well. So yeah, I mean, good headache, but headache for sure.
Sometimes we are guilty in India, Shahriar, of saying Jadeja doesn't have to do much to get his wickets. Either the pitch helps him or the batsmen help him. Now, would I be too harsh in suggesting that today that he was gifted a few wickets with some of the shots that were played, or would you still give him credit that he earned those wickets?
Nah, batsmen will eventually get out. The bowlers has to put the ball into the right area. Yeah. I think he was really good today. The line and length was exceptionally well this evening. If you look at him, he was under pressure. He was not in the one-day squad for a long time. The reputation he has got, he has been the part of Indian team for such a long time, and suddenly you are dropped. Definitely, you have a pressure. The bigger player you are, the bigger pressure. The pressure is bigger. So he did really well. He had to put the ball in the right areas. Yes, couple of bad shots, but when you are bowling well, then the batsman will make mistake, and the thing happened today.
I like that he says that as an opening batsman, that you just put it in the right place, the batsman will eventually give his wicket.
Yes.
But looking at the groupings,
we were talking about it. The fact that he kept it very simple.
Yes.
What his strength is bowling 6 deliveries in one area, And that's what he did. He just kept it very simple. He worked on his strength, which is line and length, and consistently bowling in that area. And we're looking at that grouping, and most of it was hitting the off stump, you know, top of off stump. That's what you want. And when a batsman gets out, 9 out of 10 times he's done something wrong. So that's the reason a batsman gets out. But having said that, from a bowler's point of view, all you can do is just bowl the right areas, and that's what he's done. And he's kept it really simple. Didn't try too many things, as in, you know, changing the angle or this and that. Just kept it really, really simple.
I mean, he came on reasonably early. What was it?
Power play.
10th over.
Yeah.
10th over. He's
10th
gone for what? 8 runs, couple of boundaries. It seemed almost like they're going to target Jadeja, give Rohit Sharma a bit of a headache. You want to think that if he would have gone for 13, 14 and over and been, say, wicketless, it might have been today Kedar Jadhav wasn't even called on. Was that perhaps the right approach from Bangladesh? Let's target Jadeja.
Not target Jadeja as such, but you know, instinctively what happens is if there is a left arm spinner and you have a left-hander, and you know Jadeja will kind of not turn it a lot, but he does not have too many variations. So what Jadeja will do as a batsman, you realize that he's going to bowl in that area. And in the power play, you know, there are only 2 fielders outside. So you fancy your chances being a left-hander. I think that's what happened with Shakib.
But 2 fours and then he goes for the third and gets out. It doesn't look good.
I really like what, you know, the way that they played around with the field set.
Yeah.
Listen, like I said, you still as a left-hander would kind of back yourself to clear the 30-yard circle, sweeping the ball against a left-arm spinner. But just like the way that whole field placement was done and that doubt was created, forcing the batsman to play a comparatively more difficult shot than the slog sweep, which would be over deep mid-wicket where the fielder went.
Right, let's talk about some of the Bangladeshi batsmen that did impress. And Shahriar, Mehdi Hassan, right from the time that he burst onto the scene with an outstanding test debut, I knew he could bat a bit, but some of the shots, lofting over extra cover for 4 and whatnot, that kid's got some talent.
Definitely, like before this match, I was a bit disappointed with Mehdi Hassan Miraj because as I know him for a very young age and he's a very good batsman. He used to bat number 4, number 5 for the under-19 national team. So I was a bit disappointed that he hasn't performed that well with the bat in test matches and even in one-day matches. I think the way he batted, this is his batting. He's a proper batsman who can bat. He used to be an all-rounder who bats number 4 and number 5 and he opens the ball like ball first one change, second change. This is the way I would like to see him bat. He is a very proper batsman with good basic and the shots he has played today was like proper cricketing shots. He was taking singles, putting the bat balls into the fences and he had intensity. What I told earlier that like Mashrafi and Mehdi Hassan's partnership had that intensity. They wanted to score, they wanted to stay there, they took singles, put the bat ball away and that's how you bat. I think that was the thing which we lacked in the early of the innings.
And you think of it, he bats number 9, which makes it a impressively deep batting lineup if some of the guys up top actually fire.
Yeah, absolutely yes, and unfortunately they haven't, and that's been the case. If you look at the kind of talent that there is, I mean the new lot that has come in, starting from Soumya Sarkar, Imrul Kaiz, you know, down to Mehdi Hassan. So there is a lot of talent. Unfortunately, you know, last year or two, and Shahriar will agree that they haven't really delivered the kind of talent or potential that they have. So that's been disappointing, and you know, and following them for last couple of years, you see them in spurts. Those talent coming out into performance or delivered in spurts, but not consistently enough.
All right, now I'm seeing comments coming in on our Facebook Live too, so keep them coming, and I can see there's a lot of angst and anger about Mahmudullah's decision, and I get that because you've got a key batsman at that point in time, and it wasn't a great call by Gregory Brathwaite. But the fact remains, in this format now, if you don't have your review at the right time, then is it only you to blame?
Not really, because the review that Bangladesh lost also was worth taking, because that was bad. Pad was very close. It was worth taking. They lost it. That's a different issue. But yeah. What
just
can you
one
do?
of those.
One of those days. I mean, listen, as a player, all of us, we've got them in our favor half the time and against us half the time. It just balances out more often than not.
Is it time to look at one more review perhaps? I'm sure is what the Bangladesh fans would be saying. Maybe up to 2 in ODI cricket, or is just one of those bad days, Shahriar?
No. First of all, if I was Mahmudullah, I would have been very much disappointed because at that situation, Mahmudullah was a very key player for Bangladesh. But one thing you have to understand that the umpires are also humans. Like it's like Deep Das will understand. Like keeper's job is a thankless job. You take 5 brilliant catches, no compliment. You miss one, you are blamed. Same thing happens to the umpire. You know, they can also make mistakes. And like think about couple of years back where there was no, like 5-10 years back where there was no review. You have to let the game go, and you have to let the game follow the path which or the tempo of the game. So I think it's disappointing for Bangladesh and Mahmudullah, but these things happen.
Salahin Kadir also saying the same thing. Bottom line is, we're humans, we're going to get you have to think of umpires as humans, but he also says you have to think of the Bangladeshis as humans too, because this subsequent match thing seems to have affected them. Can we say that about the batting? Little tired, jaded, bus ride overnight, all that?
Fair enough. You can understand that, and I sympathize with that. It's not easy when you have to travel over bus and then play again in this heat. Obviously, the heat doesn't help either. But having said that, you got to live with it. I mean, you can't complain. You were aware of it when the schedule came out. Unfortunately, this is how it is.
Okay, on the other hand, one team that also is, another team that's playing back-to-back is Afghanistan, albeit in the comforts of the same stadium as yesterday. And they have already crossed 250 in Abu Dhabi, which means, again, as we discussed yesterday, that this is going to take some chasing.
It will. And you know what? Every time Afghanistan against, I don't care who the opposition is, if they get to that 250 mark and these conditions where bowlers have, the spinners have help, you know, I start, calling them the favourites. Even though because it's Pakistan, so I won't say there will be a huge margin or whatever in my assessment, but I think, you know, they would be ahead in this game now that they've scored 250 plus.
Well, and it seems like, Shahriar, like we compare for Bangladesh, we want one of the senior guys to stand up, get some runs, and that's not quite happening. It will be Mushfiqur in the first game, but you need more contributions. From Afghanistan, everyone seems to be chipping in. Today they've had Hashmatullah as the man amongst the runs. They had Rehmat Shah in the first game too with the runs. Today Asghar Afghan has also got among the runs. So all of a sudden Afghanistan are playing like a far more seasoned and mature international team.
First of all, you cannot be too much demanding on these senior guys of Bangladesh batting lineup. They are the players who have been performing and making the good result for Bangladesh. You know, Mushfiq had a very good game. He is human. He cannot score hundreds every day. So even Saqib, he cannot score 100 every day. So I think cricket is a game of 11 players, and 11 players must contribute to win a match. It can be in the field, it can be with the ball, or it can be with the bat. If you look at Afghanistan, they know their limitations. They want to go there, do the job very simply, making small partnership and scoring runs. And Pakistan has a big task ahead in front of them, I think.
257 without even the services of Rashid Khan.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
It could have been more if
yeah, we were talking about that. But most interesting, you know what? With Afghanistan, I think one, they know their limitations with the bat, and they know their strength with the ball. So for them, they're very happy getting to 220, 230 because they start as batsmen, as middle order or openers. You have Shahzad, I mean, you have him the way it is. I mean, he's a freak, so leave him alone. The other batsmen, look at Rahmat in the first game. You know, he started off slowly. Even, you know, Hashmatullah yesterday and today. He was his strike rate was around 50, 55 when he got his 50. From there, he's built it up. So their idea, they know their strength, they know their kind of limitations, and that's what they're looking at. Suddenly, you are 220, you're targeting 220, 230. Around 40, 41st over, you're at 200 for 3. You know, because you've kind of got wickets in hand, you've been very careful, and then you have 7 wickets, and you said, why not? Let's go give it a crack.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they've done. They were 180 or so at the end of nearing the 40th over, and here they are. They've got another 70 odd runs at the end, including a 50 from Asghar Afghan, the captain. And at this point yesterday on our halftime show, we had questions on Asghar Afghan. He's not got a 50 in 21 innings, saying the Afghan fans. Those are the scores for you. Hashmatullah Shahidi with an unbeaten 97 and got a few runs towards the end. Was struggling at one point towards the end to really get going. Mohammad Nawaz on his return to the side, and Shaheen Afridi on his ODI debut among the wickets. But it's not quite been the happiest first innings for Pakistan. So let's just talk about that. Asghar Afghan, you know the difference he makes. I was surprised to see Afghan fans rather frustrated that he's not punching his weight as a batsman. But this inning, 67 of 56, striking at 120. Good
absolutely, and see again, Hashmatullah could play that innings because obviously Asghar played that superb knock of 67 or 56. But you know what I really like about Asghar is his captaincy. I mean, I think he's a senior statesman who has the ability of keeping the flock together. Because it is a personal assessment. When I saw the team without him in Harare during the qualifiers, they looked a little lost. And then I saw him when he came back after his whatever appendix issue that he had. He came back, and then obviously the body language was different. They were more settled in their roles. So I think he makes a huge difference as a leader of the team. And obviously, I mean, it does help when your captain is also scoring.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the question we also were trying to have about Mashrafi. He might be an inspirational leader, but he must pull his weight as a player. And we had that chat with Ajit yesterday. Shahriar pointing out that Mashrafi has been very good for Bangladesh. In fact, some handy runs today. But funny how a day works, right, Shahriar? Yesterday, the Afghan fans going after Asghar. And here, I must have watched the show overnight or something in Abu Dhabi that he's now smashed a lovely 16 in an important game.
You know, like the player who makes his mark internationally, or the player who gets his debut, he must have something inside him. That's why he's selected. You know, sometimes the fans or the critics become, you know, very much reactive on them. Yesterday we were talking about him, and he has delivered. I think, you know, you have to have some faith. You know, you must have some faith on the players. And he can have a couple of bad days, or 3 bad days, even 20 bad days, you know. But, you know, when he is the captain, I totally agree with Dada that when he is the captain, he has the ability to take the team together. You know, we can refer to Darren Sammy, you know, the couple of T20 World Cups which West Indies won. Darren Sammy didn't have too much things to do, but he captained the side very well, led them very well, and they won the tournament. So you need this kind of guys who can inspire, who can like take the pressure and let the other players do their job.
And after beating Bangladesh comprehensively yesterday, yes, there's an innings to go, and Pakistan are more than capable. But we must entertain the thought that if Afghanistan win this, they might give themselves a great chance for the final.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I seriously wouldn't be surprised, because again, it'll be a good game when they play India. I mean, Afghanistan, again, if they bat first, it'll be interesting if they bat second. What do they do? If they have to chase down 220, 230, are they good enough to chase that down or not? That'll be interesting. But if they bat first against India and they actually manage to get 250, that'll be an interesting game again.
Right, so we'll have that conversation in a few hours. Let's just see if Afghanistan's bowlers, like they have, can get the job done. Otherwise, Pakistan need to reset a few records in recent times. We mentioned that it's only, what, 214 or 217 or something like that. That is the highest successful score chased at Abu Dhabi in the last 3 or 4 years. So they've got their work cut out. Pakistan. Just putting our attention back to the India-Bangladesh game in Dubai now. Can we expect something extraordinary from Bangladesh's bowlers? Deep Dasgupta, you think this is going to be routine? Is it going to be a challenge?
Well, it depends on the first 10 overs. If there are early wickets, it would be challenging. If there are not too many wickets in the first 10 overs, then afraid it's not going to be that challenging.
That's not an answer I expect from you. I expect you to tell me exactly what's going to happen.
Listen,
you're a man who's now making strong predictions and getting his team.
No, I mean, it's not going to be. That's how I'll put it. Okay. You want me to get off the fence?
I want you to either say that India's top order is going to do this, or...
You know what I would like to see?
Yes.
I would like to see MS Dhoni batting a little higher and getting some game time.
Very well. That's fair. Shahriar, do Bangladesh have it in them to spring what looks like quite a surprise now if they are to bowl India out for less than 170?
Yeah, I think that first 10 overs is the key. If Bangladesh can take those early wickets, Rohit Sharma and Shekhar Dhawar, then Bangladesh will have fair chance. Other than that, it can become a routine game for India.
Very well. Would you go for something out of the box then? Would Mashrafi take the new ball for you? We saw Rubel take the new ball yesterday. Mustafizur is back now.
Mashrafi and Mehdi, I think.
Oh, okay.
Mashrafi Mehdi will take the new ball.
That's interesting.
That won't be a bad call, because Shikhar against an off spinner doesn't have a great record. So yeah, that might be a decent call.
All right, gentlemen, let's assess this in a few hours from now. Many thanks to Deep Dasgupta and Shahriar Nafees for joining us on our halftime show, and we will have complete analysis from both Shahriar and Deep on the post show. So join us then. Download the ESPNcricinfo mobile app to stay up to date with whatever's happening in Dubai and Abu Dhabi in the second innings of the first day of this Super 4 stage of the Asia Cup 2018. We'll see you for the post show on ESPNcricinfo Matchday with our technology partner Vivo.